Hey guys, I found something in Genesis. I think you'll find this interesting. In Genesis 1, verse 27, where it says, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them without beards.
Ask, what about the wearing of a beard? Is that an appropriate choice for a brother to make? To help us answer that question, let's watch the following video, which reviews the history of beards among Jehovah's people.
How you doing, guys? Pardon my voice if it sounds a little raspy. I'm just getting over pneumonia, which is why I haven't been around. One thing I had noticed when I first became a JW, hold on, this is a little bit too far away. There, that's a little better. Was they claim they don't judge. But I think we all realize that, yes, they do judge. They judge on appearance, and I found that out firsthand. See, when I started studying, this is back in 2006. Now, I had the bandana, had facial hair at the time. Now, I knew this was going to be an issue. I didn't realize the facial hair to the degree that it was. And that was the first thing they went after. And you know, the funny thing is, I wouldn't have made a big deal out of it if they didn't make a big deal out of it. That was one of the first things they wanted me to do away with, that and the facial hair. I do things on my own time. Well, apparently, they'd already judged me. They thought I was some sort of thug. So I just kept it going for a while. I was sitting in the meeting one day, and this old timer there decides to show me a picture in one of their publications of this thug with bandanas, tattoos, and gauntlet. And he says, "Yeah, what do you think of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, nice picture. You know, I probably would have cut the facial hair off much sooner than I did if it wasn't for that." One time during one of my studies, my Bible instructor made a comment, and I mentioned this a few years ago. Well, you know, if it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck. I know what he was getting at. If you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you want to look like one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's the one thing I had noticed, that everybody pretty much looked the same and acted the same. They'd all dressed the same. Now me, I always liked my individuality. And I never had a problem with that, but apparently they did. Well, I let it go for a few months. And I finally says, you know, if I'm going to be one of these people, I'm probably going to have to get rid of this. Which I did for a while. I was always told that if you have a beard, you'll never stand up at the podium. Okay, at that time I had no intention of ever being up there to begin with. So my instructor made mention of it, that Jehovah's Witnesses do not wear beards. Now, he second-guessed me, assuming what he knew what I was going to say, and don't mention that people in Bible times all had beards. Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but is what you're telling me scriptural? You didn't have an answer for that. Well, it's a Jehovah's Witness thing. Oh, I see, so it's not biblical. But I couldn't get a straight answer as to why Jehovah's Witnesses don't wear beards, when at one time they did. Well, we all know now why. C.T. Russell had a beard, and all of his people had beards. Now, when Joe Rutherford did the hostile takeover, he wanted to do away with the ghost of Russell. So all of a sudden, all the beards went. And that's the way it's been up until modern times, right now. I just found this out yesterday, that now Jehovah's Witnesses are allowed to have beards. I don't know the whole story behind it, but I thought it was funny because I was always told Jehovah's Witnesses stand firm on their beliefs. They never change their beliefs. And Yes, they do. They've actually changed quite a bit. I think it was sometime in 2006 where they started allowing the blood fractions. Now, there was some time before that they wouldn't even consider something like that. Now, the reason behind that was obvious. Why they now allowed blood fractions was because every vaccine out there all contained blood fractions. So Watchtower didn't have much of a choice to make it a conscience matter and leave it up to them. Let's get a little bit more recent. It wasn't too long ago when we found out that Jehovah's Witnesses no longer have to keep track of their service hours. Now, that was something they were always adamant about. Every month you had to turn that slip in. But for whatever reason now, they don't have to. And now we find out about the beards. I mean, don't tell me that the new governing body members were all sitting around the table together and saying, hey guys, we were just looking at this and we can't find anything in the Bible that says anything about JWs not being allowed to wear beards. Well, that's what Tony told us. Yeah, well, Tony's gone. I can be pretty defiant at times. And for the most part, I never really made an issue out of this my first few years in. Now, then when I started fading and I started getting a hair across it, because of little bullshit things that were going on at the hole, I said, you know something? I shaved this off. I'm growing it back. So I did. I wasn't fully fading at the time, but I was kind of half-ass fading. So I started going to the meetings, and they noticed I had the goatee thing going. None of the elders said a word. They left it alone, which is probably a good thing. One of the guys I used to talk to looks at me at the meeting and says, you just hurt Jehovah. I looked at him like, no, I didn't. We both chuckled at it because it sounded stupid. But the thing was, never could anybody give a reason why JWs were not allowed to have beards except for the thing about Rutherford, which was all that made sense. Most of their rulings were stupid, but it's just funny how little by little they're doing away with certain things. Like I said before, they did away with their service hours. Now the beards, they're allowed to have beards. So you have to wonder what's next. Watchtower, if you want to impress me, do away with the shunning. Do away with the two-witness rule. Stop bullying families about going to the police when they suspect one of their children was molested or toyed with by one of your people. The other thing is, when you change light like this, it's pretty obvious that it's either one of two things. Either these are man-made rules, or your God is one dumb son of a bitch. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to get this out there. That's nice talking to you. You all have a good week, and I will be talking to you soon.